She divorced him and banished him from the kingdom. After
Damn, okay. History of Georgia. Georgia is low-key
Sakartvelo,
pretty interesting.
known as Georgia, is a nation of 4 million people located on the eastern shore of the Black Sea coast. It is nestled between two of the most formidable mountain ranges on Earth, the Greater and Lesser Caucasus.
4 million
Georgia
people,
is
damn.
the nations of Armenia, Turkey, and Azerbaijan to the south, while Russia looms over the north. Iran is also nearby. On the larger regional level, Georgia lies between Eastern Europe and the Near East. Georgia is sometimes confused with the American state of the same name. While the state was named after George II of Great Britain, the origin of the country's name is a little more ambiguous. For many centuries, it has been commonly believed that the name was derived from the country's patrons.
You know what's insane? I've been living in America for like a decade. I never knew that's where the American name of Georgia came from.
St. George, the Dragon Slayer. While most modern scholars hypothesize that the name is derived from a transliteration of the Persian word for wolf, with the country's name meaning Land of the Wolves. Sakartvelo, the country's native name, means Land of the Kartvelians. The Kartvelians are the indigenous people of the region.
Oh wow, this is
predominantly
interesting.
descended from those that have lived there since prehistoric times. More than 8,000 years ago, the fertile river valleys in this geographically isolated region provided a haven for growing a wide variety of crops, including grapes. Wine residue, found on ancient Georgian pottery fragments, is the earliest evidence of the delicious beverage found anywhere in the world. Additionally, cows and pigs were also widely cultivated throughout the territory of what is now Georgia during prehistoric times. As the
This is very, very interesting thus so far.
aliens enjoyed their wine and steak dinners, a succession of imperial states to the south began raiding the prosperous land. The Hittites, Assyrians, and the Kingdom of Urartu all launched campaigns into the mountainous region. They successfully extracted tribute of livestock and metals, but were never able to dominate the land. In response to the foreign incursions, the Diowehi tribal union formed for mutual defense. Over time, the battered border tribes became dominated by the interior kingdom of Caucasus, which consolidated power over much of the tribes by the mid-8th century BC. Caucasus traded gold, iron, copper, timber, honey, and wine with the Greek merchants who braved the long voyage to Caucasus. To the early Greeks, the kingdom was viewed as being at the edge of the known world. Caucasus became famous for its peace and prosperity, as typified by the legend of Jason and the Golden Fleece, where a fancy sheepskin magically brought great wealth to the kingdom, before Jason stole it. Around 550 BC, the Persian Achaemenid Empire was the first imperial power to conquer and incorporate the region.
That's
Caucasus
funny.
thrived under
That's
Persian
funny, bro.
rule, as they became connected to the largest and most populated state on Earth at the time, which meant many more potential customers for Kalkan products and raw materials. After more than 2 centuries of Persian rule, Caucasus became independent again as Alexander of Macedon toppled the Persian Empire. Following a few chaotic decades, a second Kartvelian-speaking state was founded, the Kingdom of Kartli, commonly known as the Kingdom of Iberia. The burgeoning kingdom enjoyed several decades of independence, which was followed by a long period of nominal foreign influence. First,
Wait, Iberia. So, what does the name Iberia mean? Because we have the Iberian Peninsula, right? Same exact name. Do they have any like connections with each other, or is that just like a big coincidence? You know what I mean? Someone answer that in the comments, please.
Relations with the Hellenistic Seleucid Empire that succeeded Alexander, before falling within the Parthian sphere of influence. Iberia then became an Armenian vassal, which itself was more often than not a Parthian vassal. The two kingdoms engaged
What the heck?
in a long frenemy relationship, with lots of intermarriage and not too much familicide. Caucasus was also not spared from imperial entanglements. It was initially conquered for a short while by the ill-fated emerging Black Sea Empire of Pontus, before falling under Roman rule. Landlocked Iberia quickly developed very friendly diplomatic relations with the Roman Empire, who built fortifications for them at strategic locations. Their king was called Friend of the Caesars in a surviving inscription, and the people were called the Roman-loving Iberians. Perhaps in contrast,
Oh wow.
Iberians who didn't love the Romans so much which is what the Romans called the original inhabitants of what is now Spain. Iberia's relationship with Rome gave them leverage in their rivalry with Armenia.
Wait. Let me hear that again.
To the Iberians who didn't love the Romans so much, which is what the Romans called the Iberians, surviving inscription, and the people were called the Roman-loving Iberians. Perhaps in contrast to the Iberians who didn't love the Romans so much, which is what the Romans called the original inhabitants of what is now Spain. Iberia's relationship with Rome gave them leverage in their rivalry with Armenia.
I thought that would have answered my question there. That doesn't really answer my question.
300 years, Armenia was usually the stronger power, the most notable exception being Pharasmanes I, who was able to exert control over Armenia.
If you play video games,
Not that Albania, but his doppelganger in the Caucasus. This Transcaucasian
What
empire
is with these names that are the same? Is there like some connection here that I don't know about? Like, what the heck? Why is there a place named Albania? What? Seriously, I would like for someone to answer that, please.
was short-lived, and the Parthians helped Armenia defeat Iberia. During the more than 2 centuries of war between Rome and Parthia, the region was often the battleground for their rivalry, and the stage for their political intrigue. Colchis became fully incorporated into the Roman Empire as a province, before reverting into a semi-autonomous vassal kingdom called Lazica. Meanwhile, Iberia successfully leveraged the delicate balance of power between Rome and Parthia to gain full independence from Armenia. In the early 3rd century, the Sassanid Persian Empire usurped the Parthians and engaged in over 4 centuries of conflict with Rome. During this time, Christianity became widely adopted in Lazica and Iberia, with the latter making it the official state religion in the 4th century. In the face of overwhelming force, Iberia became a Sassanid ally. They later returned to the Roman way for 60 years, before being reconquered and forced into vassalage. Lazica was typically outside of the danger zone for the majority of the wars fought between Rome and Persia, before it became the venue for a 20-year-long war. The Persians managed to conquer Lazica, but relinquished control of the kingdom in return for a yearly payment. Afterwards, Iberia's relationship with the Sassanid Persians gradually soured, as Zoroastrianism was made the co-state religion with Christianity. Discontent culminated in a series of rebellions, which ended with Iberia being disestablished in the year 580.
Yo, I don't know why, but the Zoroastrian religion symbol, I don't know, it looks so damn cool, bro. It just looks so cool.
Continued to rise up in rebellion.
It looks so cool.
Decades, as Rome and Persia continued to wage war on each other, and its territory was split between Persia and Rome. Then, the Arab invasion and rapid collapse of the Sassanid Empire allowed Iberia to reunite. Shortly afterwards, Lazica rebelled against the ailing and overburdened Eastern Roman Empire, establishing its independence, although Constantinople's influence was gradually reasserted. In the mid-730s, Lazica and Iberia were able to team up and defeat an Arab invasion. However, the land was devastated. Crops, cities, and towns lay in ruin, while the nomadic Khazars from the north raided the countryside for several decades. In the 770s, the Principality...
I gotta do the Khazar Khanate reaction. Someone did ask me to do a reaction. That I still have it there. I'm like, one of these days I'm gonna do it.
Abkhazia united with the Kingdom of Lazica through diplomatic marriage and established the Kingdom of Abkhazia shortly afterwards. While Abkhazia solidified its power and rebuilt the region's economy and infrastructure, the Iberians were not so lucky. For exactly 3 centuries, the kingless nobles of the Principality...
Oh shit! Abkhazia! Abkhazia! I know that name. Abkhazia. This is one of the people who are freaking rebelling against Georgia right now. I don't know much about the Abkhazians. All I knew is that they were like indigenous to that region right there. That's all I knew, is that they were indigenous to that region or something along that line. And the reason that they're rebelling, I think, is like because I don't really know the exact reason why they even rebelled against Georgia rule. All I know is that they're like pro-Russia rebels and they want to like join Russia, I think. I think they were like rebelling from Georgia because of something. I don't know. I thought I heard the reason before in the past. Like the Georgian government was like doing something. I don't know. Honestly, I haven't like delved much into that conflict with Georgia and Abkhazia and Ossetia. So I think they were saying like Georgia was like trying to like, I don't know, I could be wrong. I think Georgia was trying to freaking like repress them or something like that, like repress their culture or something along those lines.
Of Iberia endured the brunt of foreign invasion. They managed to maintain a degree of independence, protected by their remote mountain citadels, while their capital of Tbilisi was conquered and re-established as an emirate, which acted as the Arab base of operations in the Caucasus. They survived as a fractured, malcontented, and rebellious tributary for a succession of Arab empires.
Wow, look at the Arabs colonizing. This is why I literally say that the Arab caliphates were literally a colonial empire too. I'll see all these Arab people, these Arab Muslims in my comment freaking yapping to me about my European empire colonize your country. Europe colonized. Cry me a river. You're freaking, you are no better. These Arab empires were no better. We see it right here, man.
While suffering nomadic raids. By the late 9th century, nearly all of the Iberian nobility had been hunted down, slaughtered, killed in battle, or had been executed by the ruling Arab dynasties to the south. This left a power vacuum that was filled by the surviving Bagratid dynasty. The families
Wow, I'll never see any Arabs talk about this.
slowly consolidated power and reestablished.
Never see them talk about this.
In 888. Throughout the 10th century, the kingdom became divided between three competing branches of the Bagrationi family. By the end of the century, David, Duke of Tau, became the most powerful Bagrationi warlord in Iberia. He successfully raided and extracted tribute in nearly every direction, and sent troops to take part in 2 Byzantine civil wars, during which time he gained and lost a large Byzantine border region. Through diplomacy and war, David arranged for his adopted son Bagrat to inherit both thrones of Abkhazia and Iberia. David was slain by a glass of poisoned communion wine. 8 years later, Bagrat III united both Kartvelian kingdoms into the unified kingdom of Georgia in 1008. He secured his new nation's borders by allying with the Armenians to the south. Together they raided the eastern emirates and extracted tribute from them. To ensure his son George had a smooth succession to the throne, Bagrat imprisoned several of his potentially rebellious cousins. George I was ambitious. When the Eastern Roman Emperor Basil was busy slaying Bulgars in the west, George was able to annex the lands of Tau from the Byzantine Empire in the east.
Wait, Georgia. It seems like the kingdom was named after him. What? Why is this a debate? I don't. That's too much of a coincidence. Like I said in my previous reactions, if something is too much of a coincidence, it's because it's not a coincidence. Like,
years later, this temporary success was reversed when met with the full force of Roman might. After George's death, the Georgians continued to squabble with the Romans. This is when the Seljuk Turks arrived. For decades, the Turks dealt the Romans devastating defeats, while the battered Georgians paid tribute. Until David IV stopped paying tribute to the Turks, and later decisively defeated the Seljuk Empire in a major battle. He restored the Georgian kingdom's prosperity and greatly expanded its territory. David the Builder transformed Georgia into a great power and began the country's golden age, which came to a height during the reign of David's great-granddaughter, Tamar. At the age of 24, she became the sole ruler of Georgia, after spending 6 years as co-regent with her ailing father George. As a child, she witnessed her father defeat foreign invaders and emerge victorious in a brutal civil war where many of her family members slaughtered each other. Georgia's aristocratic clans chose a husband they controlled for the young queen to marry and generally bullied her during her first 2 years on the throne. Meanwhile,
Yuri of
Tamar built a loyal
Novgorod.
base of followers, which most importantly included
Okay, so Russia still had connections. Or I should better say, at this time period, the Rus people still had connections down here. Okay,
the Georgian
that's
Church.
interesting.
Then swiftly and without warning, she imprisoned, executed, or exiled her enemies, including her husband, whom she accused of being far too fond of strong drink, and the fellas he drank drink with. In an unprecedented move for the time, she divorced him and banished him from the kingdom. After
Damn, okay.
rebellions, she chose her second husband, which was another unprecedented move for the time. Her husband David was a prince of the Christianized Iranian-speaking Alans who were descended from nomads who had settled in the Caucasus centuries before. Although subordinate in rank and authority to his wife, David was steadfastly loyal to Tamar and a talented military commander. David led Georgia's armies on a cavalcade of successful military campaigns, expanding the kingdom into a proper empire. After the misguided Fourth Crusades sack and occupation of Constantinople, Tamar helped establish the Protectorate of Trebizond, which was in name its own empire. There, her younger sister reigned as queen, alongside a claimant to the Byzantine Empire, in exile.
Holy.
Also one of her relatives who grew up in
Holy.
Tamar's reign also
Sick
saw the height
Georgia.
of the Georgian Golden Age in art, academics, and architecture. She also funded churches and monasteries throughout the Near East. A contemporary French chronicler wrote of the Georgians, "There is also in the East another Christian people, who are very warlike and valiant in battle, being strong in body and powerful in the countless numbers of their warriors. Being entirely surrounded by infidel nations, these men are called Georgians, because they especially revere and worship St. George. Whenever they come on pilgrimage to the Lord's sepulchre, they march into the holy city without paying tribute to anyone, for the Saracens dare in no way molest them."
Wait, so wouldn't that... So does that answer the question at the start of the video? Where does the name Georgia come from? If we believe what the chronicler... I mean, because the chronicler, he would have to... He couldn't just be saying that out of his ass. He had to heard that from somewhere. Probably heard that from Georgia. If he was talking with Georgia, clearly he knows about Georgia.
With the remnants of the Byzantine Eastern Roman Empire in serious decline, Tamar stylized herself as the defender of all Christians in the region. Among Tamar's many titles were King of Kings, Queen of Queens, Shah and Shah, Autocrat of all the East and West, and Messiah. Shortly after her death, the country was repeatedly invaded by the Mongols, and the empire shrank into its core territories, and then fractured. Georgia had recovered, pulled itself together, and began to prosper again. The warlord Tamerlane led 8 Turco-Mongol invasions into the country.
Oh, Timur!
A devastated
Timur
Georgia
the goat!
fractured into several small squabbling states in the aftermath.
Oh, wow.
In the 15th century, the borders of these states constantly fluctuated, fell apart, and reformed. In the 16th century, these states became dominated by the Ottoman Turks in the west and the Safavid Persians in the east. The region became the battleground for these great powers. Different Iranian dynasties battled the Ottomans, but the battleground remained the same. As the Georgian kingdoms of Kartli and Imereti were right on the border regions of the warring empires, they did manage to maintain a relatively high degree of autonomy during the many conflicts fought in the region, and often tipped the balance of power in one direction or the other. By the early 19th century, a new great power, Russia, became involved in the Caucasus and consolidated their hold over the region throughout that century. When the Russian monarchy was toppled in the early 20th century, the Caucasus went through several different governmental iterations. Before the Democratic Republic of Georgia was established in 1918. Random related fact. This Georgian fellow, nicknamed Koba, moved to the north and played a pivotal role in the global events of the 20th century. 3 years after it was established,
He didn't talk about the flag. I wanted him to talk about the flag.
The Russian Soviet army invaded and established the Georgian Soviet Socialist Republic. This lasted until the fall of the Soviet Union in 1991, when the modern state of Georgia was established. A civil war soon followed that lasted for 2 years, which ended with the creation
I did not know that.
states of South Ossetia and Abkhazia.
Oh, you mean that? Okay, I thought, I do know about that.
In 2008, Russia invaded and established military bases in Abkhazia and South Ossetia. Today, Georgia is still an industrious land of strong people that make great wine. Also, if you are from Georgia,
Great wine?
there, what is your favorite thing to do or place to visit there? Or favorite local dish to eat? Let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear what you have to say. And a big thanks to my awesome patrons over on Patreon. This has been Epimetheus. Thank you so much for watching.
Honestly, Georgia seems pretty cool. I would not mind visiting Georgia. It seems like a very, very underrated country. Needs some more attention. But if you want more videos like this, you like my reaction to this, comment suggestions in the comments below. If you know videos that you would like to see my reaction to, that I would love to react to, definitely comment in the comments below. Make sure you like and subscribe before you leave, by the way, if you're new to my channel. And guys, check out my channel membership. We just got 2 new members this week. Thank you to the 2 new members who joined. Like I said, if you are an active viewer, I purposely made it 99 cents a month. As I get more members, the perks will increase. But right now, we are still a small little community. So the main perks are faster reply to comments. Your suggestions are done much more quickly. You get access to the channel VIP Discord server, where you get better communication with me and other channel members, etc, right? I'm not going to say all of it here because I have a whole video where I talk about all the perks that you get. So check out my other reactions like this on my channel. I have plenty at this point. Thank you for watching and goodbye.